Even today the death about Bharti has been in controversy. Was her death an accident, suicide or an act of murder? Conspiracy theories continue to persist about her death even after more than 2 decades. Did she commit suicide? Was it an accident? Or was she really pushed out of her balcony? According to the official documents associated with her case, there were 3 people were with her at the time of the incident: her dress designer Nita Lella, her husband Dr. Shyam, a psychiatrist, and her maid Amrita. It also shows that her maid was very attached to her because she had been taking care of Bharti since her birth. Amrita went into acute depression after the incident and stopped interacting with people. Police records state that Amrita suffered a massive heart attack soon after and succumbed to it. She died within a month of Bharti's demise, and so much of the information buried out with her death. Apart from then, her husband Sajid Nadiadwala, her mother Meeta Bharti and her brother Kunal were also questioned by the police, however they were absent during the time of the incident. The officials who led the investigation in Bharti's death were Inspector J.G. Jadhav of Versova Police Station, the investigating officer of the case, and the chief medical officer of Cooper Hospital, Dr. Tripathi, who signed the death certificate, had some first-hand account of what might have happened to Bharti that night, but the lack of evidences to verify the reason and cause of the incident led to closure of the case in 1998. Regardless, we have tried to collect the information from the people and draw some conclusions of what actually might have happened to Bharti the following night. Bharti had returned from Chennai after a shoot, and on the same following night, she was supposed to fly to Hyderabad for another shoot, but she postponed her travel because she wanted to make settlement with her apartment. That day, Bharti was injured, so she had a bandage on her left foot and had informed her producers she won't be able to report for the shoot. She informed everybody she would be going to Hyderabad the very next day. Earlier that day, Bharti had been to Neptune Apartments in Bandra West with a broker and had finalized a large flat that she was considering to buy. Getting a good flat in Mumbai wasn't easy even at that times, so Divya was privileged that day and was constantly describing her brother Kunal's nice 4-bedroom apartment whom she adored so much. Kunal left early that evening after the conversation. Bharti then got a phone call and was informed Nita Lella and her husband who were coming down to see her at the Versova flat. Her temporary apartment at Versova was registered to someone else. Sajid and Bharti had just rented it out. We still do not have a count on who actually possessed the building. Bharti was also entitled for a long outdoor schedule to Mauritius to shoot for Sajid's film Andalan. Nita was supposed to make the costumes for the film, and after the schedule, Divya was supposed to move into her new apartment. So, everything was happening just as planned, and naturally, Bharti seemed to be very excited that night. Nita and Dr. Shyam Lella arrived around 10 p.m. and all of them sat down and talked in the living room. The television was on and Bharti had 2 alcohol bottles, Mauritian cigar cane wine and Black Label whiskey, on the table. The whiskey bottle had been opened while the wine bottle was intact. Her maid Amrita was in the living room and Bharti was talking to her. Amrita soon left for the kitchen to fry munchies. While the conversation was still on between the two, Divya walked towards the window while still talking to her maid loudly, who was in the kitchen now. At that time Nita and her husband were watching something interesting on the VCR and hence were not the part in the conversation that was going on in between Bharti and Amrita. In the meantime, nobody had actually noticed that Bharti had climbed out of the window and landed on the narrow ledge below it, which was merely 12 inches wide. She landed on the ledge with her back towards the living room, then she tried to turn around to get the hold on the window frame. It was that unfortunate moment while she tried turning around on the ledge extending her hand to hold the window frame, she lost her balance and she slipped. When Bharti landed on the ground, the neighbors nearby heard a huge thud. Bharti had landed on her back on the concrete ground and she has severe injuries with her head. Everything happened in the matter of few minutes. When people heard the sound, everyone came running to her place. She was lying in a pool of blood. She was still somehow conscious and seemed as she was trying to speak something. She was rushed to Cooper Hospital, still breathing, holding tightly to the doctor's shirt sleeve even as he assured her that she'd be fine. Then, just as they swept him through the hospital's gates, she reportedly tugged on Dr. Lulla's sleeve one last time before her grip slackened. She was alive on her way, but her pulse rate had started to falling rapidly. She died at the emergency department of Cooper Hospital. The doctors proclaimed her immediate cause of death was heavy internal bleeding due to the injury at the back of her head. Her skull had several fractures. She was declared dead on arrival. By the time we arrived at Cooper Hospital, her body had been removed to the morgue to await post-mortem. Her father, Prakash Bharti, had been admitted, along with Sajid, who had gone into shock on learning that she was no more. This brought a tragic end to Bharti's life. A star that had so much of potential, the star that had formidable future, and the star that would have certainly made her place in the Bollywood and remain a legend just as many other stars did. But for Bharti, it was a misfortune. At 07:30 hours or 7:30 am, the coroner's court in the Cooper Hospital discharged her body to her relatives. Then it was taken to her father's residence in Juhu. At 10:30 hours or 10:30 am, Mr. Prakash Bharti was released from the hospital as he had with a mild heart attack a day before. There was the presence of huge number from the Bollywood movie industries. Those personalities which included Govinda, Anil Kapoor, Amrish Puri, Raj Babbar, Pillai Nalani, Urmila Matondkar, Tabu, Yash Chopra, Jimmy Narula, Aruna Irani, Raza Murad, Vikas Anand, Asha Parekh, Smyali, Sanjeeta Balani, Venkatesh, Ram Mohan, Javed Khan, Raj Kanwar, Saif Ali Khan, Karisma Kapoor, Shilpa Sharadkar, Sanu Alia and Babita. At 11:30 hours or 11:30 am, the body was taken to the crematorium Viopal Crematorium in northwest Bombay in an ambulance, which was followed by the long convoy of around 40 cars. Sajid was also released from the Cooper's Hospital as he had also collapsed a day earlier. At 12:15 hours or 12:15 am, Bharti's brother Kunal lit the funeral pyre. There were around 500 people in total from different levels of the film industry who attended the funeral.